Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. Welcome back to Hanging with Mangg. Today we're playing just some Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Just doing some grinding in the background. I'm hoping the voices don't get, like, really obnoxious, because they can be very obnoxious, so I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I've really been digging this game. I've been playing just hours and hours of it, and it seems like there's just dozens of hours ahead of me. Very big game, very enjoyable. It's got a, you know, there's just a lot of, like, convoluted, needlessly complex sort of RPG systems involved, and I dig that. That's what I'm all about. So the Switch has been really good for me for just having, like, these really big, lengthy games that I just get engrossed in and spend dozens of hours in. Between this, Breath of the Wild, and Disgaea 5, it's been a great console. I mean, yeah, it had, like, Super Mario Odyssey, but still. So let's see then. This week on this channel, Mangg's LPs, there's actually a bunch of videos. Wasn't there? There's quite a few videos. One of them was role manging, but the rest were all Final Fantasy and Hollow Knight. I really got into Hollow Knight. I'm actually done with the game. I recorded ahead, and so I have completed the game. So there's going to be a few more videos of that on the way, which is good. I'm glad I finished it. And obviously there's a lot more Final Fantasy on the road. The road ahead. There's no shortage of Final Fantasy videos sitting on my hard drive. But after that, it's just waiting for Monster Hunter. The third beta weekend is next weekend. I think it starts on, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Some people were saying Thursday. That seems kind of crazy. Maybe Thursday in Japan or something. I don't know. But I thought it was Friday. Either way, sometime next weekend. And that has the new, really difficult Nergigante hunt. So I will be doing, I'll be doing a stream or video of that, of my first few attempts against that. I don't think I'll be able to do it in my first few attempts. And then I'll probably just do some short post-commentary thing of when I actually finally beat it. Really looking forward to it, though. I don't know. It's rare that I get this hyped for a video game. But everything that I know and see and have played of Monster Hunter World leaves me very excited. I think it's going to be pretty kick-ass. So once that game comes out on the 26th, that's going to be the bulk of my video content. I think there's going to be just, I mean, obviously there's still going to be Final Fantasy stuff. That's not going anywhere. But aside from that, I'm not planning anything but Monster Hunter World. So, yeah, can't wait. As for the Exploring series, Monday was the Dragon Break video, I think, which did alright. I don't think there are any huge complaints. Dragon Breaks are kind of like the midi-chlorians of Elder Scrolls. Where, like, you know, a lot of casual people, casual fans have no idea what it even is. You know, casual fans of Star Wars, you ask them about midi-chlorians, they're like, what? You know, it's like one line in Phantom Menace that, you know, Star Wars nerds are like, fucking midi-chlorians ruined Star Wars, whereas other people are like, I don't remember, what are you talking about? And casual fans of Elder Scrolls have no idea what Dragon Breaks are, and they don't care. And because if it isn't in Skyrim, you know, if something isn't in Skyrim, casual fans of Elder Scrolls don't care, because casual fans of Elder Scrolls basically means they're fans of Skyrim. That's what it is. As a video creator, a lore video creator of Elder Scrolls, I both like and dislike Skyrim from that perspective. Because on the one hand, Skyrim has provided, like, there's so much art that wouldn't exist if Skyrim didn't exist, because Skyrim is just massively popular compared to the other games. And so it brings in all these, you know, these people that are interested in making art and things like that, because they're fans of Skyrim, so they make art. But on the other hand, if something isn't in Skyrim, there's no art of it. And any sort of design for a character or a location or something, it's all based on its depiction in Skyrim. So all Daedric princes, statues, and, you know, their look, that's all based on whatever it was in Skyrim. Even if it's been different in other games. I don't know what was the most egregious example of that. It was one of the Daedric princes, but I really don't remember which one. Oh, I think it was Nocturnal. I think I was upset with Nocturnal. Because it's like based on like the description, you know, from past games and things like that, talking about Nocturnal and how she's like shrouded in darkness and, you know, mist and blah, 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 and her form is obscured and all that. And it's like, all right, you know, Nocturnal sounds pretty cool. And then, you know, she actually appears in Skyrim, and she's just some scantily clad, busty woman. And it's like, okay, now every single piece of artwork you could ever find of Nocturnal is based on her depiction in Skyrim. And it's like, fuck. Like, nobody wants to be original with their depiction, because then, like, who the hell is this? This isn't Nocturnal. Nocturnal looks like this. Remember, didn't you play Skyrim? And it's like, and so it's like, if if it wasn't for Skyrim, I would have zero pictures, zero artworks depicting Nocturnal. So, yeah, it is what it is. I guess I can't be too upset, since I'm not creating any artwork, so I guess I can't complain too much. But anyways, so yeah, Dragon Breaks, they're sort of divisive. I kind of like them as a concept within the game. I think it lends to the series' originality. I think the original reason that they created Dragon Breaks, you know, to sort of just be like, we don't want to pick a canon ending, so we'll just make them all canon. I think that's kind of a lame decision, but I think since then, what they've sort of come up with regarding all the lore around Dragon Breaks, I think it's pretty cool. but I also don't mind midichlorians. So what do I know? That was the wrong one. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, the Dragon Break video. I also did did I do Nocturnal this week? It all blends together, man. It's just getting nuts. I don't know. I know I did Sanguine. I don't know what else I did. Maybe it was Nocturnal. Whatever. I did 2 Data Princes. Shut up. I don't care. And I worked on the Vivek video, which was a bit of a daunting task. I was a little worried when I first set out to begin. Because he's a very... I mean, not only does he sort of have a bunch of history, but he has a bunch of history that is outside of the game. There's a lot of out-of-game texts and discussions regarding Vivek that have questionable canonicity. You know, he's sort of like the brainchild of Michael Kirkbride, and then Kirkbride, you know, was big on the forums, and he wrote a bunch of texts that were maybe canon. Like, they're not in games, but he wrote them, so why wouldn't, you know, if he... I don't know. And what is canon? I don't know. So I decided, you know, to incorporate a decent amount of the out-of-game text, just because I think it lends a lot to the uniqueness of Vivek. And it's not like it's just fan fiction. It's kind of fan fiction, but I think it's a degree above that. I mean, it's like if J.K. Rowling or whatever went on a forum and wrote like some paragraphs about Harry Potter. And it's like, well, it's not in a book, but it seems kind of canon. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, I didn't know that much before I started working on it. I knew he was a strange character. I knew the 36 lessons of Vivek were pretty crazy, but yeah, it's pretty wild. He
Me first. Hit it. No.
He apparently bit the tip of the penis of Mangg off, and then they had sex, and Mangg like crushed his feet and then cut off his head, and then they had thousands of babies, and it's just like, what is this? I left all that out. I was like, if they want to go in that in the comment section, feel free, but I'm not going to encourage it. Because it's like, yeah, it's like, okay, that didn't probably literally happen. I assume it's all metaphorical, and I don't know. What do I know? I don't. I'm just gonna stick to the facts I can. I did cover... Well, I did sort of go into the trial of Vivek, which is not canon. It's not in the games at all. Although it's kind of like hinted at in a later game, I guess. If you want to look at it that way. And it's basically like a bunch of writers and stuff of the games got together on the forums, and they did like this role play of Vivek on trial for, you know, his crimes against Nerevar and blah blah blah, and then it ends with him like them summoning Azura, and then he uses Kim to like bind her to the mortal plane, but then he like shoves his spear down her throat, which may also be a metaphor, or I don't know. And then she gets banished from the mortal plane. Whatever that really... I mean, I guess she doesn't appear physically in any game after Morrowind, but she doesn't really appear physically in Morrowind. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's all pretty wild. I just put the video together, and then we'll see what happens. You know, maybe it'll be good, maybe it won't be good.
I'm going all in.
Well done. Maybe we're not.
So yeah, that's that. I had to really sort of correct myself. I've always pronounced his name Vivek for whatever reason, but that is not how it's pronounced. It is definitely Vivek. I had to relearn myself. It's pronounced Vivek in both Elder Scrolls Online, which I figured if that was the only verbal pronunciation we've ever had, people are gonna still call me out and be like, no, ESO isn't canon, it's Vivek or whatever, blah blah blah. But in the cut dialogue from Morrowind, Vivek has a few spoken lines, and he does say his own name, and it is Vivek. So I'm like, alright, validated. Nobody can call me out now. And yeah, so then this coming week, is the last 2 Daedric Princes, and then I'll be done with the 3 videos a week. I'm very excited about that. 3 videos is quite a bit. And, sorry. So that's Sheogorath and Vermina, but the Sheogorath video is also going to include Jigalag or Jigaleg or whatever, however it's pronounced. I assume Jigalag.
Take him out. Cute and fierce.
Magnificent.
And that's obviously the most... he's obviously the most popular Daedric Prince by a wide margin, Sheogorath. People have been requesting that for quite a while, and then other people are like, there's no way he can do better than Shoddy Cast, blah, blah, blah. Why this is gonna be... Blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, yeah, they got the voice actors for Sheogorath and his butler or whatever, and I'm not gonna be able to compete with that, but... I watched just like 20-30 seconds of their video. I mean, obviously I can't copy their style. I wouldn't even think of it. It's just not how I do things. They seem to be a bit more sort of storytelling-esque in their presentation. So I'm not too worried, really, about trying to compete, because it's really apples and oranges. I just try to get the facts out there and as cleanly a presentation as I can. And then this week I'm working on the video for Akavir. So the continent to the east of Tamriel that is invaded a number of times. They've got, most of it is sort of mysterious. I don't know how long of a video it will be. Because it's kind of like, are the Akaviri, are they snake people? Are they just regular people? how many different peoples were on Akavir. There's just a lot of like lack of information, but I'm sure it'll be something people want to hear about. And then after that, there's going to be a video on the Lesser Daedra. And I'm going to finish that video. I'm going to be finishing the Lesser Daedra video on Friday the 26th. That's when I will finish working on that video. And then that's a weekend of Monster Hunter, so that's going to be pretty awesome. And then what I'm debating doing is the following week, I'm thinking of just holding all the polls for the next series. Basically as an excuse for me to just not do anything that week and just let me play Monster Hunter in peace for a week. That means that I'm not going to be doing a video on Kim, but I think that's probably okay. I just don't think I can explain it. You know, my video series have always been for the casual fan, for someone that just doesn't know that much and just wants a basic overview. And to be honest, Kim and the towers and all that, that goes beyond a casual perspective of the Elder Scrolls. I think at that point, if you're interested in learning about that, you really just have to do some reading and just sort of interpret it yourself and figure it out. I think if I did make a video on it, it would just be, I would not look forward to the comment section from all the real big nerds and be like, "Oh, you got this wrong," and don't you know anything about dream realities, and "Oh no, this is what this means and you're stupid," and it's just there's just too much subjective interpretation for me to really be interested in covering it. More really, I'm just saying all this because I want to play Monster Hunter for a week. Either way, I think after, a few more videos, the last Daedric Princes, Akavir, Lesser Daedra, I think at that point, I'll have done pretty well for a series on the Elder Scrolls. It's been my longest series so far that I've covered. And I really can't complain with what I've put out there, so it'll be fine. And I'm looking forward to moving on to something fresh and new. I'm really curious to see what wins the polls. Last time Dune was up there, Warhammer 40K was up there, but now I have a lot of fans that are coming in from Elder Scrolls, so they're Elder Scrolls fans primarily, and I have this big influx of Cthulhu Mythos and Bloodborne fans, and so anything's possible. Warcraft could win. Dark Tower could win. I don't know. I might veto Dark Tower. I'm still debating. I'm still debating if I would actually... I started reading the series pretty much in anticipation that I might have to cover it someday. But now that I've read it, I just don't know if I would ever want to do that. It just... I just feel like if you're interested in the Dark Tower, read all the books. And if after that you still have questions, well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have any real questions after I finished the series. I was like, I don't need anything really explained to me. I'm happy with everything. It's an incredible series, and that's it. So, I don't know. I just...
Maybe we'll get out of this alive after all.
I just wouldn't want anyone... I wouldn't want anyone that's, like, interested in the series, and they're like, let's go on YouTube, let's see what all the fuss is about. Or, you know, who is this man in black? I want to learn about this. And then I just basically spoil the entire series and everything, all the mysteries and all that, and they just like, oh, okay. Now I don't need to read the books, and done. And maybe that's just like some weird illusion that I would have that this would actually happen. And these people would have never read the books anyways. But I don't know. I just don't like that whole concept. And it's really not, it wouldn't go for almost any other series whatsoever. Like, I wouldn't care about anything else, but for some reason the Dark Tower just I don't know, it affected me in a way that I would like to inflict on other people. So I'd rather just have them read it than risk just spoiling it. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it if it actually did really win and get popular, but I don't know. Because it's like, usually when I start a series, I like to do like a summary video. Like Elder Scrolls, I did the timeline video. Star Wars, I did the Sith and Jedi videos, which really sort of summed up a lot of the history. And so I could do just a plot summary video for Dark Tower, but it's like, who is that for? Who is watching this and learning something? That's really what the core of it is. Who is going to learn something from this video? And it's like, maybe somebody that read through all the books and they didn't quite grasp everything that occurred throughout the series. Possibly. They're not paying attention. But really, I would be worried that the people learning from that video are just people that have never read the books. And it's like, well, that may interest them, and now they're like, oh, this sounds really interesting, I gotta pick up the books. But I've already spoiled it, and the spoiler is really big. Like, there's big spoilers in Dark Tower, and that's like, honestly, it's the only book series I've ever read where I cried at the end. Like, books are not meant to make you cry. That's weird in my world. But Dark Tower, it just, I don't know. So it's possible I'd veto it. And people would be upset, but sorry. Make your own video. It's always the dream reply. Just, well, you don't like it? Make your own video. Let's see how your video is. But you can't say that. Can't say that. It's like when Jerry got heckled, and then he went to the woman's office and heckled her back. Same thing. Anyways, so I think that's a good plan overall. Give me a week to play Monster Hunter. After all these 3 videos a weeks, I think it'll be good. Yeah. These monsters are really easy for my level. I way out level them, but they give some XP, and this allows me to not concentrate too much. So I can kill these little prairie dogs.
I'll let you know if you start slacking.
Alright then.
Well done.
So board gaming this week, what was it? Tuesday. Tuesday we played Archipelago. It was not my first choice, I'll be honest, but that's what we decided upon. So we played Archipelago, and I insisted that we play with the possibility of the traitor, the separatist or whatever, the rebel, whatever they call it. Which, you know, every time we played Archipelago, we've lost. We've all lost because the rebels overtake the white people. I mean, that's what it is. And so every time we played, we've lost because of that, because we just do not care enough. We've never given enough adequate attention to quelling the rebellion, quashing the rebellion. And so we've always lost because of that. But if the separatist card is in play as a possible personal objective, that player can win if the rebels overtake the white people. And so they're incentivized to, you know, not only not help quash the rebellion, but actually spur on the rebellion, which is almost just a guaranteed loss for everyone else. And so they've talked about playing the game and removing that card as a possibility, just to give us a fair chance of somebody winning, you know, normally. And I'm just against this concept. And there is a variant where you do just remove the separatist card and the pacifist card, and I think you play with a specific trend objective. But I don't know, for me the game is meant to be played this way. You're meant to have to deal with this possible traitor. That's just how it is. And so we played with the possibility of the card. It turned out that it was not in the game. None of us were the separatists. We still all lost. Even with me as the pacifist. The pacifist wants the opposite. They want the rebellion to be completely quashed, because then they get a bunch of bonus victory points at the end. So even with me trying to help quash the rebellion as much as possible, we still lost due to the rebellion. Just because none of us ever seemed to care enough. Because really, to quash the rebellion, it pretty much comes down to personal sacrifice. You have to give up resources and things like that. And usually what it comes down to is like, well, they didn't give any. You know, they didn't give any resources. Why should I, you know? It's just a couple rebels, you know, sprouting up. Well, that's not a big deal. We can deal with that. And that's always, it's like this trickle of rebels that appear throughout the entire thing until the final big push at the end where it's just like, wow, we fucking lost again. I don't mind it. To be honest, I'm okay with the game ending with the rebellion every time, just because I think it's humorous. And I don't really care about winning. Winning is never... I'm not a competitive person. And so it's not like I played the pacifist. I did try and quash the rebellion. It hurt me a little bit because I wanted to see the rebels succeed. I was like a secret separatist. But no, I did my duty. I did everything in my power to help. And it still wasn't enough. Because you need everybody helping. Or you need 3 people at least. 3/4. So anyways, yeah, we all lost. It was fine, but we probably won't play Archipelago again for 10 months or something. Other than that, though, played a lot of Gloomhaven again, of course. I've retired my second character now. And well, long story short, without spoiling, my personal objective that I completed in order to retire my character did not give me a new class. I did not get to open another class. So I had to go back and pick one of the classes we've already unlocked. And the only one sort of that was not part of the original set that we've unlocked is the sort of doctor character, the healer. And playing the healer for two players is just not something worthwhile. It would just, maybe it would make us, you know, my mom's playing sort of really sort of tanky character. So it's possible I could just help her, keep her alive indefinitely, but that's not really how it works. You want to be able to kill quickly. And so especially with 2 players, I think you want some just killing machines. And the doctor would not be a killing machine. So I nixed it. It's not happening. So instead I went with the Brute, which is one of the basic starting classes.
Come out, come out.
He's kind of a tank. He has quite a bit of HP, but he can be built into sort of a decent melee damage dealer, so I'm sort of going that route. I'm not super happy with it yet, but the personal quest that I have now is to unlock supposedly one of the most fun classes, so I've heard. So I'm really looking forward to that. I don't know how long it'll take to complete. You never know. But still, Gloomhaven has been absolutely great. Alright. So then, roll Mangg. Shadow of the Demon Lord, session number 2. So we were all level 1, which was great. We were a level 1 warrior, level 1 rogue, and level 1 magician. And we were in Flint Hook still. We decided to wait a day before we set out to find Pencil's sister in the next town over. And we decided to help look into this mystery of disappearances in Flint Hook. Very, you know, basic level 1 sort of adventure. So we did a little investigating, and we found out that supposedly these disappearances were happening nearby the old ruined monastery on a hill near the town. Very creepy place. Like, this has got to be it. And so, of course, we headed up there, 3 of us. And we found, in a little sort of servants' quarters next to the monastery, there was this haggard-looking, bearded, homeless dude. I mean, he had a home, I guess, but he looked homeless. And he apparently was very skilled with knives. He instantly, as soon as he saw Pencil, he instantly threw a knife that landed directly into his chest. So that was pretty nice. And so we tried chasing after him, but he went down a trap door. He went down this ladder beneath a trap door, and he threw another dagger as we were like looking down this ladder into this tunnel. He was like at the bottom. He threw this dagger that like stuck into the ceiling above us because it was just thrown so hard. And it's like, I don't know who this guy is, but he's apparently very skilled. And so we're like, well, that's interesting. You know, is this guy like some serial killer that's murdering and abducting people and eating them, or God knows what's happening with this dude? And so we debated about going down into the tunnel there, following after him, but it's like a Home Alone situation. You know, he's expecting us to do that, so he's gonna like ambush us with these perfectly thrown knives. Like, we'll just get slaughtered. So we decided against that, and we just sort of moved a bunch of rubble on top of the trapdoor so that he couldn't come back up this way. So we went into the monastery itself. We're poking around, and we come across this sort of medical room, that had a bunch of like scalpels and medical implements, and on a table there was a corpse, and this corpse was apparently infected with the same type of infection that the beastmen had in the forest nearby, that they said they had gotten from a human trader that had traded with them. And so it's like, okay, this infection is not some one-off incident. This is apparently some sort of spreading thing, which of course is the theme of our whole campaign, but our characters don't exactly know that yet. And so there were a bunch of like medical logs, like texts, a journal, a medical journal, I guess, of the guy who had examined this guy and was checking him out. And so I grabbed those. I grabbed a scalpel. Just you never know when you might need a scalpel. And we continued. Continued exploring, and we found sort of a chapel, sort of the chapel part of the monastery. And I was checking out the altar. The altar is sort of there was like this bust or something, and this little statue of Father Death or whatever that the monastery was devoted to in the old days, and it had been removed from the altar and sort of thrown onto the ground, and now there was like a dark aura, or like this, you get this just dark feeling when you're around the altar because it's been besmirched, it's been blasphemed against or whatever. And so I wanted to fix the altar. I wanted to put the thing back on. But before I could, there was a figure in the room, and I think it attacked somebody. Attacked one of the other guys with like some spectral grasp. And then it started to bolt for the door, but Dirk McGurk was on the job. He managed to stop the figure and like tackle this person to the ground, and then he pulled his sword out, and the woman surrendered. It was a young woman, again like 18 years old, and she revealed that she was basically like an apprentice to the person that was in charge of all these recent abductions and things like that. He was some sort of necromancer, apparently, and he was doing experiments on these people that he kidnapped and blah 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 blah. And so she had interest in learning, magical powers and things like that, and so she was hoping to apprentice underneath this guy in order to learn some powers. But during the scuffle, I had tried to cast a spell on her, and so she sensed the power that I had as well, since I know spells now. Level 1 spells, but still. And so she said that if I was willing, she could be my apprentice instead. And so it seemed like this person doesn't care about morals or anything like that. She'll do whatever she has to gain power. And that's not a good perspective, but, you know, from Orion's point of view, it's like, okay, I can just let this person go, and it's like, she'll just fall into, you know, bad hands yet again. She'll find somebody else, she'll do whatever it takes to gain power, and it's like, no good is gonna come of that. I could kill her, but that's not what Orion does. He tries to help people, he's a witch. Or he can take her in as his apprentice and try and show her the proper way, and maybe convert her into a witch and put her on a good path, using powers for good instead of evil. Orion's very optimistic. And so that's what I did. I took her in as another apprentice. And so now I have two, like, 18-year-old girls as my apprentices. I'm basically forming a harem of some sort, which is interesting, I suppose. I don't know what good will come of it. I don't know where it'll go, but there you go. I've got two apprentices. And so she didn't really want to go back to town, because she's one of the people that was presumed missing. So people think that she's been abducted,
What have we here?
when really she's just been apprenticing under this necromancer that has been abducting other people. And so I was like, you know, are you gonna, when we go back to town, are you gonna, like, tell them the truth that you were an apprentice, or are you gonna lie to them and say you were abducted and we rescued you? And so basically she just didn't want to go back to town at all. So I'm like, okay, well, you know, go wait here outside of town and we'll come for you when the job's done. And so we head back to town because we're like, okay, there's... She tells us, you know, about this necromancer, Briarthorn. His name's Briarthorn, and he's the one that's been doing all these abductions, and he's a powerful necromancer, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, the logical thing to do. It's not the movie thing to do, the heroic thing to do, but it's the logical thing to do is to get the proper authorities. And so I'm like, all right, that's what we're doing. We're gonna get the town guard, because we were hired to investigate. Well, we were enlisted, I guess. We volunteered to investigate. And we did. So now we're gonna get the proper force to solve this problem. But there was one door that we had not investigated, and it was locked, but she had the key. So Pencil took the key from her, and he's like, I'm gonna go check this out. We're like, okay, do whatever the hell you want. We're going to get the proper authorities. So we head off back to town to get the guards. He goes in this door, which is actually a door leading to a tower. So he starts ascending the tower. At the top, he finds like a small, sort of decrepit, worn down bedroom. And on the bed is a skeleton. Just pure bone. Except for his hand, which is still flesh. He still has flesh on his hand. And on one of his fingers is a ring, like an ornate ring. And it's like, oh, well, this is clearly something unique going on here. You know, if you could heal, we'd solve so many problems, but I don't know what you're doing. Thank you. So he takes the ring off the finger. The hand turns to bone just like everything else. It just like crumbles to dust. And if at that moment he just turned around and left, everything would have been fine. But he didn't do that. he called out because he heard like a noise or something like that. So he called out, you know, is anyone there? And then he said something like, if you're good, no harm will come to you, or something like that. He said something to that effect. And so then, like a door, like a small door in one of the walls opened up, and this horrific creature scrambled out at great speed. And so basically, Pencil had the chance to like turn around and start the motion of running. And this creature took one attack at him and pretty much just shattered his spine into a fine powder, instantly killing him. And that was the end of Pencil. So we don't know what the ring did. And yeah, that's it. And our characters still don't know what happened to him. Because our characters, we got the guards, we got like 7 of them, including the captain of the guard. We went into the monastery, we went to where the altar was, we put the little statue thing back on, put it back on the altar, so we fixed that, and then we found a big rug, and under that was a trapdoor. I don't know how the necromancer replaces the rug whenever he goes in the trapdoor, but whatever. And so we go down, and it doesn't take us too long, and we find a big curtain in the middle of a room. We pull back the curtain. I'm pretty sure he just took this straight out of Masks of Nyarlathotep, of zombies behind curtains. It's just a good concept. So yeah, behind the curtain we find like 5 zombies just standing there. Behind the zombies there was like a giant... It was a flesh golem. It was pretty much an abomination from Warcraft. You know, it was just this big sort of stitched together corpses given life. Or unlife, I guess. And then way back in the darkness behind all of them was the Necromancer himself. And so we got into a big fight. It was a big scuffle. I honestly thought we were going to lose. I really did. Like, I was just so close to turning and running away. And if I had done that, I think they would have all died. And they would have blamed me, and it probably would have been pretty bad. I don't think it would have been a good thing. But remember, my character fears death, so I can always justify it. But I did not run away. We were very close to dying. They were just like... Because there was like a curse put on Dirk McGurk's character, or Dirk McGurk, and so basically at the end of every round he either had to take 1d6 damage, which is a lot. Like when you only have 15 health, that's quite a bit. He either had to take 1d6 damage or he was compelled for the next round, which means the Necromancer chose what he did, which is even worse. So he had to take damage constantly every round until somebody broke the Necromancer's concentration. And all you had to do was hit him once. And we could not do it. Phil's character, his new character, I'll tell you about that in a second. His new character ran up to him and tried to hit him like 3 times with his club. Failed every time. Just ridiculous. And so finally, in the round that I was about to run away, I was like, alright, I'm not going to run. I pulled out my dagger. And I threw it at the Necromancer, and I somehow, incredibly, managed to hit him and broke his concentration. And from then on, we did manage to kill everything, which was especially difficult because the abomination thing, the flesh golem, every time we hit him, he like spit out another zombie. Like a zombie like split out from his flesh. And so we kept on getting more zombies. It was a very tricky fight. A bunch of guards died, but we all managed to survive. And that was really great. We all hit level 2 because of it. And we got a bunch of money, and I got like a magical staff or something. And we ended like right after the fight was done because it was getting late. So it was good. It's not good that a bunch of guards died. The city is definitely going to be undermanned because we took most of the guards of the city with us. But we all survived. That was pretty good, and we definitely saved the town. It was going to be overrun very soon with a zombie horde. So that was great. So Phil's new character, we did the random generation. We did the same thing as we did originally. So we went through the whole thing with all the random generation. So he picked human again, and his family was a family of soldiers. So he's like a military family, and so his childhood experience, he got one childhood experience, and so he got that he helped with the family business. So he was basically a child soldier. You know, we probably assumed that he was like a messenger boy or something like that, but whatever way you want to spin it, he was definitely he was involved in war as a child, which probably led to his insanity, I guess. And so I think he got that he's fairly young. I think he's like 18 now or something like that. And for his build, he's very short and very fat. So basically, he made a dwarf. He got a dwarf character, but he's technically a human. And he worships... God, there was just so many funny things that he got from his roles. I don't remember all of it. It was a lot of funny shit. But he worships, he's very strong in his conviction, his beliefs about old man Winter or something, which is one of the old gods. And so he comes into the scenario, he comes into the session just as we're leading all the guards up to the monastery. And so as we're on our way up the hill, suddenly this cold burst of wind and this little tornado appears like next to us. And out of the tornado pops this little fat human. And I say, like, to arms, men, you know, because I'm like, this is clearly some sort of magical threat. And I don't know what he thought I said. He misheard me. And so the first thing he says is, "I'm not a dwarf." And it's just like, all right, this little fat human pops out of a tornado, and the first thing he says is, "I'm not a dwarf." He also said that he was blown here by Old Man Winter himself. There was a lot of laughs in his introduction. So he's basically this very jovial, strange human dwarf. And he can make like magic acorns and stuff. He's sort of druidic. I think he's a priest. So he knows some magic, but basically he was pretty much useless, of course. And so it was a lot of laughs. I'm interested to see where he goes with that character. But that's our new group. Yeah, so next time we'll finish sort of looting the monastery. Maybe we'll find out how Pencil died if we kill that creature upstairs. Although I don't want to fight that thing because, Jesus, like, it annihilated him. And then after that, I think we'll sort of rest up, and then I'll take my harem of witches, and we'll head on to the next town. And I think the sort of plague concept is really going to start to explode. I think we're going to have to start dealing with a lot of diseases and start to get to the root of the story. But it's going very well so far. I'm liking it a lot. So it's good stuff. It's good. It's a good system, and I'm happy. Alrighty then. I think that about wraps us up. So check out the Vivek video tomorrow. We got Sheogorath and Vermina coming this week. The rest of Hollow Knight, and some more Final Fantasy IV. But my name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg. I'll see you fine folks next week.